Earlier on in this, I talked about Splats and how he caused some oddities. Well, that's because despite being a cut enemy, he somehow ended up getting some merch, such as these figures from Tony, which caused a lot of confusion to anybody who got them back in the day, and we didn't know about beta dumping, and it's still confusing today because you gotta think about, well, where exactly do they see this? I guess they were given official sources by Sega to make figures based off of, and they somehow mixed in beta content with it, and Splats was just cut out that late for whatever reason that he still ended up getting merch. Well, it's hard to think about, but it's certainly a cute figure. Like Cynic, I tried looking for this to buy, and unlike Cynic, though, I couldn't find anything about this, so I don't know how obscure of a figure it is, or I'm just not looking. Again, Tony made this, I'm not sure about it anymore, that's out there. So we talked about Ashura and Wekchina, but what about Tails? Sonic and Knuckles have their own well-known glitch variants, but Tails is once again left out, like with the hyperforms. Well, I mean, in the Android port of Sonic 2, you can have a different palette glitch occur in a zone that's underwater, but that's alongside Sonic, and nobody really talks about that or cares. It's not given a name or anything. Apparently, however, Kitsunami was based off of what they saw was a glitched version of Tails in an older game, and you could assume that's blue, and I can picture it, but I can't find any glitch like this, and I haven't seen anybody else really talk about it, so yeah, there's a missing character. Well, we talked about Fang's name oddities a lot in this, but there's one more that beats out even Knack. And that's this one time, for whatever reason, an English article referred to Fang as Jet. No idea where this came from, and it's especially not a coincidence considering later on there would be a character with this name in the Sonic games. So this is, of course, pretty, objective or opinionated, but so far it's been, just straight up fact, and it's the fact that back during the classic era, Sonic had a shit ton of variety coming out in games and just media overall that's simply not present anymore, and I don't know how much I can really blame them. There are all kinds of spin-offs coming out of all kinds of different genres left and right, and despite the classic era being kind of a small time frame when you really look at it, there was a lot of stuff to this, and even just several cartoons and comics going on top of all these games, and it's part of what makes the classic era so fun, and it's a shame that it seems like it'll never happen again since the stuff is a lot more, tedious and expensive to make now, but also because Sonic probably isn't just going to have a huge boom like this ever again. We talked about Tails at the start of this. We all know about his curse and the creepypasta, and how apparently it seems to have taken off and started around the late 2000s. Well, actually, there's some stuff a bit before that of people, creeping him up and stuff, in 2005. However, even way before that, back at the game's launch in 1997, there were forum posts and discussions of people talking about how Tails doll made them uncomfortable, really uncomfortable, and creeped out and stuff, and I guess he's just always given out some sort of power, and reminds me of the Wet Gyro, the negative emotional aura. So, yeah, Tails doll, he's definitely always had something off about him, but I love him. Yep, we're talking about Fang again. I love him, give me a break. He's my favorite character alongside Tails doll, yes, that's true. But Sonic Extreme, Fang was meant to be a boss in here, and as you can see, he's huge. He looks like he could just straight up eat the blasted Hedgehog. And as to why exactly he was going to be big, aside from gameplay reasons making him a target, that's completely unknown, but that's not the point. The point is that Sonic Extreme, if it came out, it would have been a big mainstream title, the next big Sonic game, and the jump to 3D no less. This isn't going to be some weird spin-off game like Triple Trouble or Sonic Racers or Sonic the Fighters. No, this would have been a big, huge deal, and I feel like Fang appearing in this would have been a big deal too, and this not coming out is what ultimately stopped him from appearing in later titles. Yes, Sean is the most powerful player of Sonic we've ever seen. Look at him button mashing away with his sunglasses while playing the games, and they're merging and getting so fucked up by him that's not even playing the right music and is playing Chemical Plant Zone over Mushroom Hill Zone, and he's even able to manipulate the console itself by creating the pasta add-on peripheral, and he won! This is obviously just here for fun, but I don't know, Sean's important to the Sonic lore. So, Sonic Says gets memed on and kind of shit on a lot, and I can't really blame people. It is very cheesy and cheaply made like the rest of the show, and it is ironically hilarious. But, as well, I can't help but give them credit for trying, and while I will say also that there is some stuff in here that's just straight up wrong or kind of misleading or an odd way of putting it, it is also kind of heartwarming that they tried, and there is some sincerely nice stuff in there, and you gotta wonder for the good lessons and stuff that they had in this, if perhaps maybe some kid was actually positively influenced by this, and I don't know, maybe they took a good liking to Sonic giving them some advice and actually applied it to make a good decision from themselves and stop themselves from doing something stupid or going down the wrong path. It's kind of a very speculative and a bit of an open-ended, almost creepy type of entry, but it's very heartwarming. Okay, so this last one is something that I had to personally really put on because it's something that makes me so upset, and I want other people to wonder and think about this and maybe even potentially do something about it, because just as I was talking about a bit ago, I really love the spin-offs and charm and stuff of these games, and man, it's a shame that so many of them were just regulated to quick budget titles and end up getting kind of fucked over because there's so much good shit and potential in them that really need to be like fully realized, and I feel like the ones that got hit the worst with this are Fighters and R, because both of those games just absolutely ooze with charm and personality and so much fun stuff. Like the animations and stuff of Fighters is so underrated, and obviously R has great visuals and music, and the idea of the racing game being like a big open map and you're actually going on foot instead of having Sonic drive in a fucking car when he's the fastest thing alive. It's a shame because these games definitely could have been really good if it weren't for the fact that they were just like made by like a C team, and I mean no offense to the devs, but yeah, and plagued with like stuff that doesn't feel good and poor controls, and yeah, it's a shame that they just couldn't be polished, but even if they were, they're so kind of lacking in content, but I mean, that could have been fixed also if like sequels or just more time to make them bigger games, and it's sad because I love the characters in them, like Fang and Tailstall, and some of the other oddies like Bark and Bean, who could have been realized more of this, and yeah, you gotta stop to wonder if what would happen if they were treated more like big mainstay titles, and yeah, it's sad that it's a missed opportunity, but it's fun to speculate. Anyway, I'll see you all next time for the last layer, where stuff definitely gets super speculative and even creepy, so see you.